You know, it was Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, can we talk about him at some point? That frozen meatball?
Right?
Because,
oh, please, please.
I mean, Ron DeSantis. I went to look it up before this show, but I forgot. You guys ever see Office Space?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Classic Gen X kind of. Remember that character who like they kept moving from like to the corner and then to the basement with the big glasses, who had like my stapler.
Yes. Yes, he was told he could keep his stapler.
Right, who never gets any cake when they get together. He gets the stapler taken from him. He's put down in the basement. Like, you know, that to me was like that guy who went up to Ron DeSantis and gave him a participation trophy the other day, which was awesome, by the way.
Oh, yes.
That is Ron DeSantis. He bet everything on Iowa, and he's basically lived up there, and he got destroyed, and it could not happen to a better Office Space character or frozen meatballs.
Now, Milton, don't be greedy. Let's pass it along and make sure everyone gets a piece.
Okay, but last time I didn't receive a piece, and I was told that
Just pass.
What? Nothing's gonna stop us.
Real quick, before we get started, thank you, everyone. Governor DeSantis, I want to present to you this participation trophy. Now, probably not going to win the election, right? But we're proud of you for trying.
I participation trophy. Sorry, buddy.
No, I mean,
sorry, buddy. Sorry.
He's special, he's unique, and he's our little snowflake. Thank you. Here you go. Did you want to...
So obviously we go on to New Hampshire and South Carolina, where I guess Nikki Haley is ahead of DeSantis, right, in those two. But does it matter? What happens now, Cliff?
Well, I'll start with, I hope DeSantis hangs around for the comic relief. I'm going to be really upset if he drops out after all of this. Again, I want that frozen meatball to stumble on down and keep going, keep talking with all the riz, as the kids say, that he has.
Yep.
You know, I think that what happens is Nikki Haley has her best shot to do any damage, always did, to, you know, and change momentum in New Hampshire because independents can vote. That's why McCain was able to beat Bush back in the day there, and there have been some upsets there. If, you know, more moderate independents vote and the few not crazy Republicans. But I still, again, I mean, Trump has such a dominant position that they'll try to, even if he beats her, let's say he beats her by 10 or 15 points, she'll try to argue that, you know, I overcame the expectations. But then South Carolina is do or die. I mean, let's all remember and hold a moment of silence. I'm just kidding. Let's laugh at him.
Yeah.
At Marco Rubio, who went down to Florida and got his arse handed to him by about 25 points by Trump. Like, if that happens to Nikki Haley, and remember, South Carolina, very conservative. That's where Lee Atwater used to be out of. You know, they did all that stuff with McCain, the black love child, and God knows what else. If you think Trump's not willing to do all that stuff to Nikki Haley there, I don't care that she's governor. They can change the impression of her.
And it also goes to show you the polling's wrong, because that was the big media story, like, had Haley surging, and she's ahead of DeSantis in the latest poll in Iowa. And it's just, you know, the media keeps, you know, they anointed DeSantis first, right? Oh, I love this, by the way. Apparently Trump was already laying the groundwork to say there was fraud in Iowa if he lost. He was attempting to blame DeSantis for rigging the caucus. I mean, you know, that is one of the disturbing things, though, right, is the polling showing whatever percentage of those Iowa Republicans don't think Joe Biden's the legitimate president.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wish I remembered the percentages, but it was like the vast majority of Nikki Haley's people did think Biden was a legitimate president. I think of DeSantis's, it might have been like either a plurality, 30s or 40s, maybe a slight majority. And then it was Trump's, 6%.
Yeah.
6% of voters think that, I mean, so 50% of the dunderheads who turned out, or whatever they ended, what did the number end up being? I think I went to sleep before the final
51%,
number, but it was some
I think.
number.
51%.
51%.
Yeah.
So of that 51%, whatever that number is in the thousands, only like 6% of them believe Biden is our president. Yeah. That is what will tell you what Putinite, Trump disinformation, uncontrolled, unregulated on Twitter and places like that will do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Cliff, as I finish my last day in my COVID closet, 4 years into COVID, oh my God! I mean, it seems like that's.
I'm kidding. Don't.
That's what we're going to be left with. It's this COVIDiocy and also the lack of belief in elections, in democracy, right? I mean, it's just, the fact that I don't know what you do about that chunk of the electorate that still doesn't believe COVID, it is real, and it doesn't think our elections thinks our elections are rigged.
That's what's been so offensive about Trump, for years now. What I should say is offensive about the rest of the Republican Party with respect to Trump. Because you'd see in private, and many Republicans have talked about this, Mitt Romney, others, where people said in private they wanted to vote against him, but they were scared about violence and scared of this. Well, I'm sorry, violence is awful, but then don't do that job.